The rain began without warning, turning the evening streets into mirrors of trembling light. Aisha pulled her shawl tighter around her shoulders as she stepped off the nearly empty bus. The driver barely waited before the doors hissed shut and the vehicle disappeared into the watery darkness. The road ahead stretched quiet and lonely, lined with broken street lamps and shuttered shops. She checked her phone, no signal. The battery blinked at 2% and died. She exhaled slowly. "It's just a 10-minute walk," she whispered to herself. Beside her walked Shadow, a large black mixed-breed dog with deep amber eyes and rain-speckled fur. He had been with her for 3 years, once a wounded stray she had rescued, now her silent guardian. His ears twitched at every distant sound. He walked close, alert but calm. Thunder rolled. The shortcut lane ahead cut between an abandoned warehouse and a half-constructed building. Normally busy during the day, it was deserted now. Aisha hesitated. The longer main road would take 30 minutes. The rain intensified, drenching her within seconds. "Shortcut it is," she said softly, and Shadow moved with her. Halfway through the lane, she sensed it, that prickling feeling of being watched. She turned slightly. Footsteps. More than one. Slow. Unhurried. 4 boys emerged from the shadow of the unfinished building. Late teens, maybe early 20s. Laughing. One kicked an empty can that skidded across the wet concrete. Another clapped mockingly. Well, one of them said. "Out for a romantic walk in the rain?" Aisha didn't answer. She kept walking. Shadow's head lifted, body stiffening. "Hey, we're talking to you," another said, stepping into her path. "Please move," she replied, voice controlled but tight. "I need to go home." They circled slightly. Not touching, not yet, but closing space. The smell of smoke and cheap cologne mixed with wet air. "Why the hurry?" the tallest one said. "We'll walk you." I said move. They laughed again. One crouched and whistled at Shadow. "Nice dog. Does it bite?" Shadow gave a low, vibrating growl, not loud, but serious. The boy stood back up quickly. "Relax, hero," he scoffed, though his smile had cracked. Aisha tried to step around them. A hand shot out and grabbed her wrist. That was the moment everything changed. Shadow exploded forward with a thunderous bark, teeth flashing, body slamming between them. The grip on her wrist released instantly. The boys stumbled back in surprise. "Control your dog," one shouted. "Control yourselves," Aisha snapped, pulling Shadow slightly back by the collar, but she did not command him to sit. She knew better. He was reading danger more clearly than she could. The tallest boy picked up a broken wooden plank from the ground. "Stupid animal," he muttered. "I'll teach it." "Don't." Aisha shouted. He swung. Shadow dodged with shocking speed and lunged, clamping onto the plank instead of flesh. The wood snapped under the force of the bite. The crack echoed like a gunshot. The boy fell backward into a puddle. "Are you crazy?" another yelled. Now anger replaced their mockery. One grabbed Aisha from behind, trying to restrain her arms. Another kicked toward Shadow. The kick landed, but it only fueled him. His bark became ferocious, primal. He leapt, knocking the attacker sideways. They crashed into stacked metal sheets with a violent clang. Aisha twisted free and stumbled, hitting the ground hard. Pain shot through her elbow. Rainwater splashed her face. She heard shouting, cursing, scrambling feet. "Get the dog. Get it off." Shadow moved like a storm, never staying still, never letting them surround him. He lunged, retreated, circled, forcing them apart. Every time one moved toward Aisha, Shadow intercepted with snapping jaws and roaring growls. His training. The hours she had spent teaching him commands, discipline, protection, now burned into instinct. One boy pulled a small knife. Time froze. Aisha saw the blade glint and lightning flash. "Shadow, back," she screamed. But Shadow didn't retreat. He changed tactics. Instead of attacking, he barked directly in the boy's face, a deafening, explosive burst, then slammed into his knees with full body weight. The knife flew from his hand, skidding across the wet ground. Another boy tried to grab it, but Shadow was faster, placing himself between the weapon and everyone else, teeth bared in a warning that needed no translation. Sirens sounded faintly in the distance, perhaps triggered by the noise, or just passing traffic, but it shattered the attacker's confidence. "Forget this," one shouted. "This psycho dog will kill someone." They dragged their injured friend up. One slipped again in the mud. Within seconds, they were running, limping, cursing, vanishing into rain and darkness. Silence returned except for Aisha's shaking breath and the steady drumming of rainfall. Shadow turned immediately and came to her, whining softly now, nudging her shoulder with his nose. His fierce posture melted into concern. She sat up slowly and wrapped her arms around his wet neck. "It's okay," she whispered, voice breaking. "I'm okay. You saved me." He licked the rain and tears from her cheek. Her elbow throbbed, her clothes were soaked, and fear still trembled through her muscles, but she was safe. Because he stood his ground. She managed to stand. Shadow stayed pressed to her side the entire walk home, scanning every corner, every sound. No more shortcuts after that night. The next morning, bruised and sore, she visited the local police station and reported the attack. There were security cameras near the main road entrance. Descriptions were taken. A case was opened. But the real story spread elsewhere. A shop owner had captured part of the confrontation on a distant security camera, just enough to show the group surrounding her and the dog driving them back. The clip reached neighborhood social media pages. People recognized the lane. Recognized the risk. Recognized the courage of the black dog who refused to abandon his human. Within days, Shadow became locally famous. Children asked to take pictures with him. Shopkeepers offered free treats. A retired trainer even visited and evaluated him, declaring, "That dog has elite protective instincts and remarkable control. He defends, he doesn't lose his mind." That's rare. Aisha didn't care about fame. Every time she remembered the knife, the grab on her wrist, the circle closing, her stomach tightened. But she also remembered something else: she had not been alone. 1 week later, on another rainy evening, she walked the same main road, not the shortcut, with Shadow beside her. Confident. Watchful. Loyal. She knelt, held his face gently, and smiled. "People say dogs are just animals," she said softly. "But that night, you were my courage." Shadow wagged once, slow and proud, like a soldier accepting honor without needing applause. And they walked on, not just girl and dog, but survivor and guardian, together.